Well, hello, everybody. I am Burlington Mayor Marianne Mead Ward. Welcome to another edition of Burlington Matters. And as always, we have a stellar lineup of folks to talk with you about what's on your mind. We have Chris Glen, who is our Director of Recreation Services at the City of Burlington, and Denise Beard, who is the Manager of Community Development at the City of Burlington. There is a lot to talk about. And like everything in COVID, there are no simple or straightforward answers, and things can change within a matter of hours. So let me tell you where we're at when we tape this show, which may be different by the time you folks out there watch it. So we're going to try and do our best to give you all the best information that we have and the scenarios that may unfold. So we're taping on Monday, and the 4 Halton mayors, as well as the regional chair, has asked the premier not to put Halton back into stage 2, but that announcement is still pending. So by the time you actually watch this, we may be in stage 2. We'll talk about what that means for recreation services, as well as, if we're not rolled back, how things stand today. And our message really to the premier was to base decisions on the evidence, the health indicators, and we'll support where the evidence is going. We don't think we meet the indicators that the other hotspots. We're nowhere near the number of active cases as the hotspot. So that was our message. Follow the evidence, show us the evidence, and we'll support an evidence-based decision, obviously. Also, there was a second letter that MPP Jane McKenna and MPP Parham Gill for Milton, as well as myself and the Milton Mayor Gord Krantz and Gary Carr, Regional Chair, sent to Dr. David Williams, the Chief Medical Officer of Health, just outlining some of the indicators that we're seeing on the ground that, again, make our situation very different from the hot spots. And one of those is our hospital capacity. Of course, we have the Joseph Brant Hospital Pandemic Response Unit, 91 beds for surge capacity if it should come to that. We've never had to use it, thankfully. So we're really happy about that. We hope we don't have to, but we have capacity, and that's one of the indicators, is having capacity. There were 8 people in hospital Halton wide as the most recent numbers that we had, and none were in ICU. So we're in good shape to accommodate if people get sick or need hospital care. We have that capacity. Our R factor, which is the spread and infection rate, is below 1. It's at 0.85, which is what you want it to be. And the number of new cases and active cases is actually steadily starting to go down. So we shared that information with with Dr. Williams and said, have a look at what's happening on the ground, and base your decision on the evidence and that we all can see. So that's where we are as of today, and it has a direct impact, as you can guess, on recreation services here in the city of Burlington. And we've taken some voluntary measures, even before being rolled back into stage 2, to follow the advice of our medical officer of health around the potential for gameplay and spread in close contact. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the alternatives that are available. We have funding available for folks to enjoy events. We're going to talk about festivals and events. So a lot to pack into our 27 and a half minutes here. Stay tuned. And I'm going to turn it right over now to Chris Glen, our Director of Recreation Services. Talk to us about the recent decision that was made about sports facilities, why that decision was made, and then we'll get into what might change if we are rolled back into stage 2. Go ahead, Chris.
Great, thank you, Mayor. We followed the recommendations of our medical officer of health, and I know they were basing their decision on what we were seeing in terms of some increases in cases connected to people in close proximity during physical activity. And that would include things such as our fitness areas, as well as our contact sports, that type of thing. So recently, the first recommendation from our MOH was that we look at having indoor fitness classes not operate, but maintain outdoor fitness classes with proper distancing. That was the first recommendation, and that also came with a recommendation to move away from gameplay in indoor team sports and have practices only, skill development, and maintain physical distancing. So when we got that recommendation, we looked at that, of course, to support our community and whatnot. So we implemented those based on the recommendation from our medical officer of health. And that started. So that was maybe 10 days ago. Following that, there was a follow-up recommendation. And with that, the team sport activity being restricted to play or practicing only was extended to being with our outdoor sports fields, etc. So we implemented that. However, what the province also did, or not the province, excuse me, but the region, they allowed dance to be brought back in. They initially said no to dance, so then they allowed that to happen. So we had to go back and tell people that you couldn't do dance, but now you can do dance. So now we're in the process of communicating that with all of our organizations, etc.
So call ahead.
Yes.
So where do they reach out if you're somebody who was about, who are signed up for a class and you're wondering whether it's going forward on one of our fields or facilities, what should folks do to try and find out before they show up and are disappointed?
Great question. What we do is contact each of the organizations that are involved with us to provide those types of services. So we go right to the representatives themselves, and we share information both verbally with personal contact as well as emails. And those classes participants that were affected, we also sent them an email, those that we could, and we called them as many as we could to give them a heads up as well. So we tried to be as proactive as possible. You can go to our website and have a look at what information's there. We have FAQs on there for various things. Just go to burlington.ca. I don't know if Denise wants to add on anything further to that.
And I would also suggest, thanks Chris, is calling Service Burlington. They have the most up-to-date information. So calling 905-335-7600, and Service Burlington should be able to answer directly your specific question.
That's great. Thank you for that. And what will happen if we do get rolled, by the time folks are watching this, if we have been rolled back into stage 2? What changes does that mean? And actually, it's right now, private facilities are a whole different thing. So we only can control what's happening on our on public fields and facilities. What does stage 2 look like? And that would affect everybody. It
would, and that's a great clarification point, Mayor, that we have made the decision to implement those recommendations at city-owned facilities and operated. And by default, organizations that use our facilities, we're expecting them to adhere to the recommendations. Private operators, it is a recommendation currently, so they can continue to operate, doing gameplay and operating programs, etc. Stage 2, if we go to modified stage 2, our understanding would be currently you're allowed to have upwards of 50 people per facility, and a facility could be multiple components of one asset, one facility, separate entrance, exit, etc., and 100 people at an outdoor opportunity. If you go to stage 2, which we don't really want to do, that will impact us, and it will go from 50 indoor to 10 is what we're understanding, and outdoor from, 100 to 25 or so numbers of people that could be there in a particular operation. So that would have a big impact on what we're able to provide in terms of programming. It was significantly reduced that capability, and I believe in Toronto they've actually canceled their fall program because of those limitations. The other thing that happens is I think no gameplay would be consistent across in all operations, whether you're privately owned or municipally owned, no fitness. It would really lock down those types of activities. You would not have the opportunity to do it if you so choose to. It would be mandatory.
Well, and you raise a good point that Toronto has voluntarily, even though they could offer some limited programming, opted not to, because the viability financially of doing that, the staff that you would have to bring in, it would, it simply wouldn't work. And we've seen that certainly with some of the private operators opting not to go forward with their programming for the same reasons. They need a certain volume of people to participate to make it financially viable.
Another complication, if I could, is it's a 28-day window. So you're not sure, are we going to come back in 28 days, or is it another 10 or 15? So it's very difficult to have a program put in place. What we have done is we've gone to short blocks of program. As opposed to 10 weeks, we've gone to shorter blocks. So it's easier for us to either ramp up or ramp down in terms of our program offering.
We also have some virtual program options. So maybe we'll just touch quickly on those, and I'll come to you, Denise, to talk about some of the alternative programming that is available for folks, and so that we all don't have to feel isolated and alone. What is the city working on?
Thanks for that, Mayor Mead Ward. So a couple things, a lot of things that we're doing. From a programming standpoint, I'll touch base on that first, what the city's offering from a program perspective. We, during COVID, have been able to ramp up a program called Telepals, which is reaching out to our seniors, mainly our seniors or our older adult demographic, and reaching out and offering classes or telephone conversations online. And it's been so well received. Just that opportunity for people to talk and connect has had a huge impact for our older adult population. So there's a wide variety of classes offered, topics of conversation. If you go to the city's website and you use the keyword fall, all of our fall programming is in there, and you can sign up and join a Telepals conversation. I believe you were probably one of the guests at some point. Yeah.
About a week ago. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was great.
And the people who are participating absolutely love it, to the point that even if it's just a group of people we have a knitting group, and the knitters just sat on the phone the first time and just had access to just talk. And you really, all you need is a phone. That's it. It's not a video conference. It is just a telephone. So we find that that's much more accessible, and people are really adapting to that, which is outstanding. That has been a huge success and a huge win for us during COVID from a programming standpoint. And it's really highlighted this need for connection. So as a result of that, what we've done is launched a program called the Community Support Grant. And it's really to ignite ideas and energies to get people to help support each other and bring community together, because we know that's what people are missing right now. We're missing that human contact. We're missing that face-to-face. And although it's a struggling time, there are so many, and you get to see this as the mayor, there's so many great opportunities out there. So many people have great passion to help each other. They want to connect, they want to do something. And so we thought we would launch a grant that would enable that to happen, and give them some money to do so. So we've got a great grant online. It's been picked up so well so far, and we're looking at some great initiatives out there that people are saying, I want to connect my neighbors, I want to help them, I want to celebrate, I still want to do stuff. And we're there to help do that.
So give us an example of some of the things that you have seen. Give our audience an example, just to get their creative instincts going, and what might be possible. And then we'll talk about what's coming up for Halloween and what's coming up for event season. It seems that we're always in event season at the City of Burlington, which is awesome, but finding new alternatives. So talk to us about some of what, the really neat things that are happening.
So we've seen actually such a wide variety of ideas out there. Chris was already talking a little bit about fitness. So you've actually seen one of the groups that came forward for the grant is a mommies and babies program that they were doing outside. And it's just a woman that said, you know what, I just want to get together with other young moms, because I know, having had children myself as well as yourself, when you are in that initial newborn stage, you really need the support of other young moms to understand what you're going through. So in this time of where we're supposed to be isolated, this woman came forward and said, I want to run a fitness class for babies and moms, and we can talk. And they do it outside, so that everybody's getting fresh air. They've got some space, and we've been able to give them some money to help get the music, some amplification going, some music, and for her to promote the idea. So it's been great. It's been so well received. So we're looking, that's just one example. The other things are lots of events, and we'll talk a little bit about eventing a bit later, and lots of art and music. It's been great that neighbors want to share their talents and gifts with the rest of the neighborhood. And that has just been outstanding to watch, that professional artists say, you know what, we have a piano player right now. She's just opening up her windows of her house just to play music every Friday night, just to entertain everybody. And she's done like flyer drops and encouraged her neighbors to just sit out on their porches and at the end of their driveways to listen to her play. And the kids just come out, and she's actually now got little pieces of like simple blocks or shakers, so the kids can actually join her in the music, which has been fantastic.
Well, one of our Burlington residents was recently featured on CBC. I think it was national, and it was very similar to that. Had set up some music at the foot of her driveway. The neighbors gathered, dance in the streets. It is a thing of beauty, and I have been so impressed throughout this that, first of all, residents have followed the advice of our medical officer of health, have taken the measures that are necessary, which is why our numbers are still well below the provincial average and below the hot spots around us throughout this pandemic, but also the ingenuity and the creativity that people have put to the task of, okay, if we can't do this, we still want to come together, we want to celebrate, we want to be with one another, how can we do it safely? And those stories, check out the Wall of Inspiration. I know you've seen it, but those that are watching, Wall of Inspiration, mariannemeadward.ca, dozens and dozens of amazing stories of residents that are surviving and thriving and finding new ways to do life, basically. It's changed forever, I think, fundamentally. We're not there's no going back to pre-COVID, and I think there's some real silver linings out of that. Chris, I want to come to you to talk about some of the festivals and events and what might be in store. And I know Denise will have some lots to say about that as well. But the one that is looming and imminent, certainly by the time people watch this, is Halloween. So what does it look like right now in Burlington, and what might it look like if we are, in fact, rolled back to stage 2 by the time people watch this?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, it's on everyone's minds right now, and the opportunity for everyone to get dressed up and go out and do that activity in the community. What we're really looking to do is we amplify the messaging that we're getting from the province, as well as our regional health folks as well. They're really encouraging us to stay within your neighborhood. You know, try not to go to those other locations. No, stay in your local neighborhood. Be safe. Keep social distancing. For all the kids that are going out together, if at all possible, bring your treats down to the end of the driveway, per se. Use tongs to provide it for the children, etc. Wear your own mask and do those types of things. Just be as safe as you possibly can. And I think we've heard this story of people that have come up with a chute that they're going to put on their front porch or whatever, and have the candy slide down to the little ones. So, and encourage them to come up and not linger, mingle, etc., and move on as quickly as you can. That's the messaging right now. If you go into stage 2, it's a strong recommendation from the province that you not trick or treat. We're in that spot again. It would not be mandated, but it would be highly recommended not to. So that'll be a bit difficult for people to decide, aren't they going to go and do that trick or treating. But that's what we seem to be seeing coming up right now for the Halloween. Still looking to have some fun. People can still dress up. You can still do those types of things. We'd also encourage things in your own family. Do some virtual things. You know, you can watch some scary movies perhaps together in that evening, or do virtual costumes with friends, etc. You could play kind of, find the candy in your own house or in your own backyard, those types of things if you're not comfortable going out. And I believe the region's also got some posters that you can put in your window if you care to. One that would say, I'm not here this year, and another one that would say, come on in, be safe. And those are the types of things that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, it's great. We've decorated our house, as I do every year for Halloween, and so have many neighbors. And I'm not sure if folks have applied for the community support fund for some of that, but my neighbors across the street who have 2 young kids, they do Halloween walks through the neighborhood every night. So it's become sort of a couple of week, almost a month-long celebration where they walk and look at the decorations that people have put out, and and that's great. Whether or not you're handing out candy, we're not going to this year, but we certainly have decorated, and we have neighbors coming by, and we're outside a lot, and folks commenting on it and enjoying just being able to, when they're out, having their exercise, which is so important, having something to look at and comment on. So again, an alternative way to celebrate. And I know many that are doing the Halloween scavenger hunt. You got to find your own candy, just like the Easter egg hunt. That's right. Yeah, Denise, anything you wanted to add on that? And let's talk about some of the other celebrations that are coming up. Remembrance Day, of course, Santa Claus Parade are two of the big ones after Halloween.
So I'll jump on the Halloween thing too as well, because we have seen a number of applications come in to the community support fund for celebrating of Halloween. And just exactly what you were saying, to encourage neighbors to decorate. And so some neighborhoods are having a contest, and they're using their local Facebook group to kind of judge and who's got the best house, and there's some contests going on. Others are actually arranging the parade so that the children are 2 meters apart, and then they'll walk by everybody's houses all dressed up, so they can still get that experience. Although they may not be handing out the candy, they will get to costume up and walk up and down the street, which is great. And I know they are saying that they're doing it really for the older adults who are going to miss seeing the children this year. So I think those are just some great initiatives out there that we're seeing coming up right in next weekend. So it'll be exciting to watch. And I agree with you. There's so much. I have never seen so much decorating for Halloween as I have this year. And it's just an outlet. People just we want to do stuff. And this is a great way to celebrate as an alternative for sure. So Halloween will be, I think it's going to be pretty big this Saturday night. I think people are going to be really into the spirit of Halloween in a new way, but in an exciting way as well. So it's great. The other events that you're alluding to, so Remembrance Day is the next big one for us. And our residents really want to express their gratitude to our veterans. And we see hundreds of people come down to the cenotaph on Remembrance Day. And this year we're kindly asking people to watch it online. A lot of the veterans that come out are older, and we want to make sure that, and they're in the vulnerable population. So we want to make sure that people, the Legion still wants to run the Remembrance Day ceremony, which is great, as we should. We need to honor the past and where we are today. But we respectfully ask that people just please stay home and watch it online, as opposed to coming down to the cenotaph. The Legion is being very careful about their numbers, who's invited, who's allowed to come down, and we will be enforcing wherever we're at, we will be enforcing the social gathering sizes accordingly. We will have some security down there just to make sure that people are not congregating, that we are adhering to what the province at the time may be telling us about gathering size. I suspect.
And right now it's 25 outside, right?
Right now yeah.
The maximum people that can join is 25, yes. Which, we would normally get thousands of people for the parade and people gathering, which is awesome.
Yes.
And the Legion has requested that you don't come down this year. So
please don't, but they'll be streaming it, so we can watch it online. There will be a link on the city's website to watch it as it's happening. So which is a great alternative this year. And we usually shut the road down for this, because we just have so many people that come down Brant Street, and we just cannot, this year that won't be happening. Just contain it to the 25 that are on site. We're not laying the reefs out like we typically do. It's going to be a little bit different. I think very somber too. Very a somber event this year.
Thank you. And then
I'm glad we're allowed to do something to honor them.
Absolutely.
Well, and this is part of the ingenuity we were talking about earlier, that we will find a way to celebrate and to mark important occasions, and this one especially, to honor our veterans, and they've requested this modified celebration or ceremony or remembrance, and so we're certainly honoring that, and it's just another example of creativity in the face of unprecedented challenges. So kudos to them and to the city. I know you and your team have worked very closely every year with the Legion to make it happen. Let's turn now to Christmas and Santa Claus. What is happening with that? Chris, maybe you can give us some heads up about, normally he comes in, he and Mrs. Claus come in on a helicopter. to the mall.
To the mall. Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe we can film that with a drone or something. I don't know.
Oh, that would be fun.
But go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, our Santa Claus parade. First, a reminder that last year, due to weather, we had to cancel it, which was certainly very disappointing for us. And unfortunately, we won't have the parade again this year. It normally would have come up on December the 6th, but we won't be able to, just for all the reasons we just talked about for Remembrance Day. However, we got some ideas that we're still cooking. Santa's still coming. We just have to figure out how to have that happen safely for everybody. So where we're heading right now is, as opposed to bringing everyone to Santa, we're looking to take Santa to them, is in essence what we're looking to do. In some way, we're putting together ideas on how we might have an opportunity for Santa to go through the community, perhaps on a fire truck or something like that, and be able to come down and have a quick hello and a wave at him. So we're looking to finalize what we will do with that, to have Santa join us. That will also be an opportunity. I think he's doing story time with us as well. I think he's going to do a bit of that, so we can have virtual opportunities with him. And we will still have the festivals of lights. They'll be on down at the Spencer Smith Park. A little bit different this year, and we'll be encouraging people to observe and move along, but we still want to have the holiday spirit definitely show up there. We won't be bringing people together to light the trees, etc. But we still want to maintain, we're looking at Halloween, as Denise mentioned, about decorating. We're hoping that people can do the same and get out and do it in their community, and to use that community support fund as opportunities to do things to help people. As it gets colder and darker, it's going to be a little more challenging for people. So whatever we can do to encourage people to get together outside, be active, continue to use our outdoor assets would be great too. So I'll slip in a little plug for that as we talk about Santa.
That's terrific. Thank you so much. We are just about out of time. I really want to thank you, Glen, our Director of Recreation Services, Denise Beard, our Manager of Community Development in Burlington, and the one with the money. So you want to talk to Denise. And another inspiring show. You know, whatever happens by the time you watch this, if there are further restrictions, we have found a way, all of us, to still celebrate, still mark those occasions, and still come together in a safe way. So everyone be safe, be healthy, continue to follow the recommendations of our Medical Officer of Health, and we'll see you next time. I'm Burlington Mayor Mary Ann Mead Ward, signing off for another show of Burlington Matters.